The update, thank you. Lisa.
Well, the vaccination debate just got a whole lot more heated with a new government crackdown, meaning parents who decide not to vaccinate their children would lose out on childcare rebates and family benefits, with exceptions only for those with legitimate medical reasons or religious objections. The man leading the no jab, no pay or play policy is Social Services Minister Scott Morrison, and he joins us now from Sydney. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning, Lisa. Good morning from the Shire.
Can you take us through the reasons why this crackdown is so important, Minister?
Well, what has happened over the last 10 years or so is the number of conscientious objectors has risen from some 15,000 people to almost 40,000 people. And as a result, we're seeing more families not taking on what is good common sense and good health policy in having their children immunised. And by making that benefit for childcare as well as the family tax benefit age supplement each year conditional on being immunised, we believe this can add further encouragement. At the end of the day, if people decide not to immunise their children, that's obviously a decision for them, but that doesn't mean they get to decide and insist on taxpayer funded benefits to that choice.
Why are you making exceptions for religious beliefs?
It's a very narrow exemption. There is only one registered religion that is currently registered for that exemption, so it doesn't apply to mainstream religions at all. And if anyone wants to know about the status of their religion, they should speak directly to the people involved in that their religious body. It's a very narrow exemption, and I'd be very surprised if 1,000 people qualified for it.
So which religion are you making exempt?
Give it a lot of publicity on today's program. But it's a matter for each and every religion. They have to formally register their objection with the government, and that has to be accepted. So it is the narrowest of possible grounds. The main exemption that remains is the medical exemption, of course, and that would be there, you would expect, and so we'll continue with that. But what this means is if you don't want to immunise your kids, it's your call. But at the end of the day, the government policy is that children should be immunised. It's good health policy. It's important for the health of our children, for families, for communities, particularly if they're going to be put in childcare centres in contact with other children.
I'm sorry, Mr Morrison, you were dropping out for a moment there. Can you just clarify again which religion at the moment is exempt from this policy?
Well, what I said is I'm not about to promote it. There's only one. It's a very small religion, and I'm not about to encourage people to line up with it just to get another crack at an exemption. It's a very narrow...
Sorry, I was going to say that's got to be a concern for you, because what proof does someone have to have and present to you that they are committed enough to that religion to qualify for an exemption and therefore not vaccinate their child?
It would have to be formally recognised by the religious body themselves, and that religious body itself has to have a formal registered process of objection which has to be accepted by the government. So this is a very, very narrow ground. It wouldn't apply to the almost majority, the entirety of the Australian population. So the issue really going forward is there is a medical exemption, but the conscientious objection, which has seen the number of people not immunising kids rise to almost 40,000, will be shut down by the government on the 1st of January, and the no jab, no pay policy will be in full effect.
So will those people that are exempt, will they still receive the tax benefits and the childcare rebates that are being taken away from others?
Where there's a legitimate exemption in place, then obviously that would enable people to continue to receive those benefits. But we're talking about a very small minority of people. The problem with the conscientious exemption is what it was growing, and we didn't want to see that continue. And the controls around it, you could have driven a truck through. So that's been shut down because we want to make sure that where kids are coming together in contact and where parents have already made the decision rightly to immunise their children, that we're not putting them or the broader community at risk by a very small few, which goes against science, against the good health policy and frankly against common sense.
I have no doubt this is going to be overwhelmingly well received, but the problem is the hardcore anti-vaccine lobby probably won't be persuaded by these financial penalties, so some kids still won't get their jab, so the risk to the community does continue. Will you be alerting parents of children who are vaccinated when their children are in the company of those that aren't vaccinated?
Well, look, these are matters for individual centres themselves. That's not the type of policy we're running here. The issue, we're already at about 97% when it comes to the immunisation of children right across the country, and that's a really good outcome. But we just didn't want to see this particular area of conscientious objection continue to open up in the way that it was. It's been happening. It was happening under the previous government. It was a recommendation of the Productivity Commission to go and address this issue, and as we're now in the stages of announcing our childcare policies between now and the budget, this was a key area to that. So it won't just apply, Lisa, to the existing childcare benefits that are in place now. It will also apply to any of the new arrangements that we put in place when we release our new childcare package before the budget.
Okay, Scott Morrison there from the Shire in Sydney. Thanks very much for your time this morning.